When do you think Croydon will be a good place to invest in? You can all vote now.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to see such a packed audience for this really important conference, which is about, I think, demonstrating both the interest, the optimism, but above all, the ambition of Croydon. We see outer London as being a major driver of the London economy, and Croydon is central to developing an economically strong London. Even now, when there is limited funding available, the Mayor feels that Croydon is such an important location, has such strategic importance for London's future, that he's been prepared, despite having most of his budgets cut, to invest in making sure that there is a good opportunity area planning framework for Croydon.
And I think in terms of brand, it is very, very complex. What we can't do is just tell a story that doesn't match our reality. But I do think we need to learn in Croydon how to represent our reality. And I think we need the help of the private sector in doing that, which is why I so much welcome this conference today and the fact that it is private sector led and private sector driven. We will be making maximum use of the new borrowing options that were talked about in the local growth white paper by Vince Cable and Eric Pickles just a few weeks ago. We will embrace tax increment financing. We will embrace greater flexibility that we expect to come in terms of utilisation of local business rates. We will embrace community infrastructure funding. And we will, of course, benefit from the new homes bonus scheme and look for opportunities to recycle some of that dividend back into more improvements in infrastructure and public realm. And stuff is already happening on the ground. And that's why I think those who said that now is the right time to invest were right. Through Croydon's own urban regeneration vehicle between Croydon Council and John Lang, the Public Service Delivery Hub is coming out of the ground. In fact, there's piling works going on at the present time. And we're already doing the design work for the Taberner site, and that tower will come down in 2013 to be replaced by a mixed-use scheme which is being designed by Make architects. We've secured the deal with Network Rail for a £26 million investment on East Croydon Station. And this is about the local authority, again, stepping up to the plate, in that we are providing £6 million of that investment. Berkeley Homes are already on site at Wellesley Square. We heard about the Barrett scheme at Purley, the ILO Tower. The cranes are here. The building is already happening, but there are many more opportunities for those developers who want a piece of the action.
There is a lot of competition in terms of attracting inward investors, but the opportunity is there, and it's a very, very significant one.
An important differential from this slide to note is that all of those regions have an out-of-town stock for offices. At the moment, Croydon doesn't have that, but the hope is there in as much that Canehill Park is being master planned at the moment and could bring forward a campus offer, which would add a whole new aspect to the Croydon office market.
If you look at places like Bromley or Kingston in South London, their connections are much more limited. They're on a radial route into London, and in the case of Bromley, they would extend you into Kent. But nowhere has the level of connectivity within Croydon. East Croydon is the 9th busiest station in the UK. So that puts it ahead of places like Liverpool, Newcastle, York, Birmingham, Manchester. So it gives it a certain status and a certain weight it should be punching above in terms of making the case for investment. And the defining feature around East Croydon in a London context is when you come out of East Croydon in the morning, like I did this morning, there are as many people coming off a train as getting on a train. Now, most other places you go to in outer London, it'll be people heading into London and then coming back in the evening. Croydon's completely the opposite, so it's a very efficient way to run a transport network because the lines are busy in both directions.
We have superb open spaces, and that's not just parks, of which we have well over 300, but golf courses, we have farmland. I think the council itself is the landlord to 3 farms. We have open heathland. We have, I'm running out of superlatives here, but we have awesome public transport, and I'm not going to describe it anymore. And we have, as has been into, a really edgy metropolitan centre, which has an historic core, but it also has a really European flavour. We also have excellent executive housing. And that matters. Actually, in terms of competing, if we are competing with Stratford, we have excellent executive housing. We have excellent schools, and as John Rouse mentioned earlier, that's in the public and the private sector.
So this is why we see at Barratt as 3 good reasons to choose Croydon. A great living experience, a great working environment, and of course, great leisure opportunities.
The scale of the thing is enormous. We are one of the biggest FE colleges in London. It is massive. The budget's around £35 million, which I know in terms of, you know, the big spenders here, it's tiny, but let me tell you in FE terms, that's fairly enormous. We are actually a university town here, but it seems that we probably don't recognise that. We've got a brand new building opening at the start of next calendar year. It will be a landmark building on College Green, brings phenomenal facilities, but also adds to the prestige of the college.
We have over 2,000 hotel rooms in the central area, which is the biggest concentration outside of Heathrow and the West End. And this is a great asset for Croydon, as well as supporting the growing business tourism offer here.
I'd like to pause for a minute on this slide and dispel a few myths about what actually is available in Croydon today and in the future, and also to counter some criticism levelled in the press in the last few days against the council and against the town, and hope I'll be able to shed some light on those. So against a total stock of 7.8 million square feet, in terms of current availability, the way I look at this, current availability is open market availability available today. So in other words, someone comes along and wants 30,000 square feet, what can they occupy? My understanding of those figures is that there's just around 612,000 square feet available, giving an initial availability figure of 7.85%. But on top of that, there's another area of building opportunities and refurbishments coming through. And that's about 750,000 square feet, of which there are 3 main components, and I'll touch on those in just a minute. That adds another 9.3%, so an actual vacancy rate, albeit with different timing, of just over 17%.
What we're looking to do is to create 4,000 more businesses that export and 900 new businesses a year.
How can you attract the best talent to want to work in Croydon in the sectors you want to attract, to create the knowledge and the know-how that's going to give you the critical mass to make this a really thriving, sustainable economy?
Perceptions of Croydon, the reality, are not necessarily what actually is on the ground here. So, for example, some occupiers still erroneously think there is a dispute going on between Stanhope Schroders and Croydon. It went on for years and years and years. We all know that it's not there because we have vested interest in knowing that, and we know about Croydon. If you don't, you think it's still going on. It isn't, it's gone. Secondly, they talk about infrastructure and planning projects. Everyone is very dubious with the spending cuts as to what actually is happening. So a lot of the things about West Croydon, East Croydon Station, people think, well, I've heard this before, it's not going to happen. Phase 1 West Croydon has done and been finished. Phase 1 East Croydon Station has funding, is happening. These are massive things, and the commitment from Croydon, but also Central London, to spend this money shows how important Croydon is a place as they see it.
And Berkeley, importantly, believes in Croydon and considers it offers a real potential for growth.
Croydon was the favourite, by far, destination for staff, and we had the least amount of turnover in relocating to Croydon.
So the third city is all of it. It's about celebrating and reinventing what some people refer to rather disparagingly as suburbia. But Sir Simon Milton said that sustaining suburbs is all about sustaining character. And I think that's one of the critical things that, that for me, that is important about what's come out of the work that we're doing, is that we are sustaining the character of Croydon. And out of that, I think, will come civic pride. I think it's really important to recognise that the people who live here, the people who work here, are very, very proud of Croydon, and that pride will actually drive the image change, which is so important. And I think the most encouraging thing that has come from today is that this isn't the council, this is actually a piece of private enterprise. When colleagues from the consortium, representatives of the consortium, Toby Fox from Fox 3 International, and others came to see us a few months ago, what we said was a great idea. We'll help, we'll provide speakers, we'll eat the biscuits, but fundamentally, this is private enterprise. And I think Peter has just said now, what does the public agency have to do? We have to coordinate our agencies and our interventions around a single, simple vision. And we actually, on the back of Imagine Croydon, we published a vision earlier this year called Your Croydon. And I think what today has comprehensively done is demonstrated that our vision is actually here today. Because for those of you who are familiar with it, what it says is, we are Croydon, London's most enterprising borough. Thank you.